This is the story of Amir Hussain. On June 27, 2023, the 24-year-old went missing while hiking alone in the remote mountains of Norway. While his disappearance initially made headlines around the world, it's what happened to him that has everyone asking, how could this be possible? So let us take a look at the timeline of events starting from June when Amir left for Norway. June, the day before his disappearance, Amir arrived in Norway with his friend Ella Marie. The two were visiting from London, where they'd been studying at the University of Greenwich. In Norway, they planned to go trekking in the mountains of a place called Jotunheimen, which translates to Giant's Home. It's a popular place for tourists to visit. After arriving, they checked into their Airbnb located near a small village called Lom. It was here that the two friends would spend the night before they started their trek the next day. They spent some time in town walking around and checking out local shops and restaurants, but by 8:30 p.m. they were back at the Airbnb. This was the last confirmed sighting of Amir. In the morning, Ella Marie woke up first and got ready for their hike. She made breakfast for herself and waited for Amir, but he never came down the stairs. She knocked on his door and tried calling him, but there was no answer, so she waited for a bit longer. When he still didn't come out, she decided to go downstairs and start the hike without him. Ella Marie had planned the hike for them the day before. They were going to do a 6-day trek on a trail known as the Besseggen Ridge. The hike is rated as difficult and the trail is only accessible during the summer months due to heavy snowfall during the winter. Along the route are several mountain cabins where hikers can rest and stay overnight. Upon reaching the first cabin, Ella Marie decided to wait until the afternoon before continuing on the trail. At around 3 p.m. she heard a helicopter flying overhead. She walked outside to get a better look. That's when she realized it was the same helicopter that she and Amir had booked to pick them up at the end of their hike. She then noticed the helicopter land on a nearby hill, and a man come over to check on her. The man asked her where her hiking partner was. Upon realizing that he wasn't with her, he immediately called the police and reported her missing. And when the police arrived, they took her in for questioning. Meanwhile, a search party was sent out looking for Amir. But as they would later discover, the trail they were searching was completely empty. There was no sign of Amir anywhere. June. Meanwhile, by the time the police had taken Ella Marie back to the Airbnb, she began to worry about her friend. She knew that Amir wouldn't just leave without telling her. He would have also called his family if he'd intended to disappear. His phone was left behind at the Airbnb, proving that he never even left the premises. The police later learned that Ella Marie had planned the entire trip and had even paid for both of their tickets on the helicopter. She also had all the information related to their hike, including a map of the trail and the locations of the different mountain cabins along the way. When the police searched Ella Marie's room, they found her passport, which had been cut in half. This led them to believe that she had done this on purpose, so she would be traced once she crossed the border into another country. June, the police continued searching for Amir along the trail, but they were unable to find any trace of him. It seemed like he had simply vanished into thin air. The terrain was very challenging, making the search even more difficult, but the police were determined to find him. They brought in helicopters and drones to help with the search. But as days turned into weeks, hope began to dwindle. At this point, the police had a few theories as to what might have happened to Amir. One was that he had fallen off a cliff or gotten lost on the trail. Another possibility was that he had been taken by an animal, such as a bear. However, there was no evidence to support any of these theories. July, the police announced that they were ending the search for Amir. They had combed through every inch of the trail and there was still no sign of him. This did not sit well with his family, who believed that the police were not doing enough to find their son. They hired a private investigator and flew to Norway to continue the search. July, the private investigator, Lars Tronstad, and his team of 4 began searching areas that the police had already combed through. They used dogs to help with the search and were able to find a scent that led them to a lake near the trail. The scent stopped at the lake, however, meaning that they were unable to find any further evidence. August, the family held a press conference where they pleaded for Amir's safe return. They released a statement saying, "We remain hopeful that Amir is alive and well and will be returned to us safely. We are grateful for the support we have received from the police, the Norwegian authorities, and the people of Norway." But behind closed doors, the family was growing increasingly worried. They felt that Amir was not receiving the attention his case deserved. The media had moved on to other stories and the public had begun to forget about him. August, the family hired a drone expert to fly over the area where Amir had gone missing. The drone operator discovered a backpack that matched the description of the one Amir had been carrying. It was located in a very remote area and had not been seen by the search parties. They then contacted the police, who sent a team to recover the backpack. Upon examining it, they found a small amount of food and some clothing, but nothing that could help them determine what had happened to Amir. What happened next shocked the entire nation. September, after over 2 weeks of searching, the family was finally able to hire someone to search inside the lake where the scent had led them. Divers searched the lake, but the water was very murky, making it difficult to see anything. Just when they were about to give up, one of the divers spotted something in the mud at the bottom of the lake. He reached down and pulled out a human leg. The divers continued searching and soon found the rest of the body. It was then taken to a medical examiner to determine the cause of death. The results showed that Amir had drowned, but there was no way he could have survived long enough for his body to decompose before being found. This meant that the police had been searching for a dead body the entire time, and it raised questions about how the body had ended up in the lake. Had Amir slipped and fallen, or had he been pushed? October, the family held another press conference where they demanded answers from the police. They said, "It is unacceptable that our son's body was found in a lake, when the search should have focused on land. Why was the lake searched last when it was obvious that the body was in the water? How could a body be found after almost 3 months when the search was carried out incorrectly?" The police responded by saying that they had followed all the correct procedures and that the search had been extensive. They claimed that they had searched the lake using sonar, but the water was too murky to see anything. But many people began to question whether or not the police had really done everything they could have to find Amir. Some people even began to speculate that Ella Marie may have played a role in his disappearance. To date, the case remains unsolved. So what do you think happened to Amir? Was this an accident or was he pushed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Thank you for watching.